Our life is always this equation of who we are with who we would like to be. Also, a little bit of who we used to be. It's not possible to conjugate the present moment without the combination of all of this. And the conjugation of the future, that time we're not even sure we'll have, depends on the wise articulation of the past we've had with the present we have today. It's this articulation that enables us to take steps, to walk, always believing that God's hand sustains us, but believing in the right way. Whenever I think of God's providence, I think of it as a favor that never ceases to be present in my life, but at the same time, never removes my possibility of doing my part. Because, my people, we have already learned, even psychology, pedagogy teach us that the good educator never gives his disciple the ready lesson. It would be a crime against the disciple to offer him the ready lesson. The master gives the certainty of his presence to remove any doubt, to be able to help, to dissolve what is hindering and harming learning. But at times, the disciple will have to live with his loneliness. The master remains silent and refuses to give the answer we so eagerly seek. Isn't that how life is? There are answers that only God can give us through his silence. That's also God's hand sustaining us. Because sometimes we have the illusion, and this is the result of naive vision. Unfortunately, religious discourse throughout our lives can give us naive visions that God will do everything for us, that God does this, that God does that. We have the right to believe in divine protection, but we are not relieved of the obligation to do our part, because it's a matter of wisdom, of maturity. The Father does this with the Son, the Mother does this with the Son. Love cannot make us think. The love that we know God has for us cannot make us think that He will do everything. I really like this expression. We only have the right to expect the impossible after we have done everything that was possible for us. So, yes, God protects us, but He also asks me to do my part in this protection. I pray to God for my life. I ask Him to give me health, but I need to do my part for that health to be a reality in my life, right? The care I have for myself is an expression of this part of mine, of the miracle I need to perform daily. So, sometimes I identify God's hand being present in my story, but not holding me as I think He does. Yes, some forsakenness is too important in our human process. It would be very interesting if we learned this from the cradle, but unfortunately not, so it's never too late for us to learn. The unprotected feeling we sometimes feel in life is also God's hand, because those who love sometimes unprotect, so that you are exposed to what you need to live and experience alone. His presence always watching us, always guiding us, because that's very interesting. The more we grow, the more we mature in our experience with God, the greater our capacity to hear and understand His voice in our story. So, God protects me like this, even when He is distant. You know, it's not that He stays distant, it's that we feel that way because of life's situations. The context makes it difficult to perceive that intense presence in our lives. So, that moment of dismay, oh my God, it seems like I'm abandoned by the Lord. No, I'm not. This dismay is part of His protection in our life. Because those who love know very well that love also needs to go through the harsh experience of unprotectedness, because excess love unprotects. Isn't that how it works? When a person is excessively protected, in the end, in contrast to all of this, there is unprotectedness because that person cannot mature. So, they'll be forever naive, forever believing they are in a fairy tale, and life is not a fairy tale. So believing in God's protection doesn't give us the right to think that God will do everything for us, that He will walk for us. No. He will always be strengthening us ahead of these battles we are going to face, but we will be responsible for doing our part. It was like that with Moses. This song quotes Moses, right? It was this hand that helped Moses divide the sea in two. In this passage, there is a great richness that is in Exodus, when Moses is terrified because he took the people out of Egypt and went towards this promised land, promised. You see, it's also a bit protected. The promised land would be reached as a promise that God made to Moses as long as he encouraged himself to take that people out of slavery and cross the difficulties of the desert. You see, anyone who has had the opportunity to go to Israel knows very well what the desert is. You enter that desert to reach a place we don't know where it is, which is only in the heart of a man. As a promise, it's a great difficulty. And the people believed, followed Moses, began to experience the restrictions of the desert, hunger, began to miss the We continue tomorrow in the next video. Complete conference links in the description.